I'm interested, Max, to talk to you about Brexit, because we hear quite a number of stuff from different manufacturers that we work with, that some say it's heavily impacted them, some say they've coped with it quite well, some say it hasn't. What impact has it had on you guys? Have you come across something that's been quite prevalent that is always still now, even God knows how many months after we got it over the line, that it's still an issue for you?
It's impacted us hugely. We've got through it really well, but I'm not going to take any credit for it. I just got told that we've got good call-offs in order. Selling and purchasing team did a really good job in securing call-offs before it all happened, which then led to us being able to fix pricing, 10 months after. So our customers did not see a price increase on their standard products. Right. Everybody else would just, the price, the margins were going up through the roof, and pricing, really did go, chaotic with the materials, and people would just, supply and demand pricing, which of course, because we had the call-offs in place, it didn't affect us. So we had to react probably 10, 12 months later when we had to place a new call-off, but it was still only at the level of everybody else. So the customers absolutely accepted it and thanked us for, having such a good, strong supply chain in place. So that's how we rid it out, and apart from that, we've just, we've had to just go with the flow with everybody else, certain, welding consumables, things like that. We don't keep a huge amount of it, so we do need to just go with market on that. But
what about the lead times? So getting either the supply chain of lead times, so you're buying your raw materials in, there's almost an increase of lead time by a couple of weeks, and that has a knock-on effect down the supply chain for production. Is that still an issue?
Same again. The protects against that by having that call-off order in place, and vast majority of our products, what we make is our call-off product. Lead times on some products has obviously extended, but it's not impacted our sales, because it's just an acceptable standard. I'm glad we're out of the period where everything will get blamed on Brexit or COVID now, because it's, you should be able to protect against it. We managed to do it. I know there's certain sectors what can't do it, but yeah, we've experienced it, but we've just coped with it so well. So it's not really. We've just gone with it. We just got on with it.
Do you think actually having really good relationships with your suppliers, or a better relationship with a supplier or customer than your competitor is key?
Our supply chain trusts us implicitly. That we are loyal to them, they are loyal to us. The call-offs, what we have for 1 month, some of the lines didn't move and they got cancelled. We still got call-offs on them 12 months later. They're absolutely fine with it. It's all about that relationship at that supply chain. So yeah, absolutely, that does help.
What about anyone that might still actually be having issues? Would maybe having a bit of a supply chain audit to see if there's something, a supplier that they're purchasing from in the EU that could actually do it in the UK, which means that they've not got any kind of import backlogs, things like that?
Well, as you know, we started off down our ISO sort of journey, and as part of that was our supplier audits. So that's something what we did a bit informally. Well, that's going to get a bit more of a formalised path, now. But risk-wise on our product, we've always got another route for that product. Even the tubular product, we can always make it a different way. We can always substitute for a different material as long as it's obviously over spec. So we have cut quite a lot of these potential problems off at the pass.
So obviously we've talked about pandemic, COVID, and we've talked about Brexit. What do you think of the next big challenge that, as a business, you've got coming up or that's on the horizon?
It's capacity in the shop and just replicating production lines. We've got tried and tested production lines. They're fantastic. We think that they're 100% industry leading standards on there. But because we're getting better as a business now, we're getting more referrals. So there's actual requirement for the products are shooting up. We've got a couple of deals in the pipeline which potentially could double the business within a couple of years. So we're just at the minute looking at new technology on the fabrication side to speed that up, because what we don't want to do is double the size of the team. We've got a good mix between the management team, the sub-management team, and the production team at the minute. What we don't want to do is just fill the factory with other people and have all the problems what come with it. We'd rather just be more efficient, get more product out of the actual production lines. So that's that's an ongoing sort of continuous improvement plan for us at the minute, which we need to start doing now to be able to cope with it.
One of the biggest buzzwords that we see in business support at the moment, which quite a lot of grants are based around, is productivity. That necessarily it's not directly into engineering and manufacturing. It is across all sectors, really. Anyone, so say for example through Barnsley Council, there's a productivity grant. It goes all the way from A to Z with industries. We could have a productivity grant. The IT business in here could have one. Manufacturing, because as long as the project is actually increasing someone's ratio of output to input, which is essentially what productivity is, then they're eligible for it. But I'm interested to see what productivity actually means to somebody who kind of operates in manufacturing, because more than ever, it's important, isn't it? Especially for you individually, looking at doubling a business, bringing more people in. You're looking at capacity, and you go, we cannot manufacture £10 million worth of bollards through these production lines here. We need to then be more productive and lean things down. Yeah. But it's a thing that's quite it's relevant for every manufacturer, isn't it? What does it actually mean to you, productivity?
It's very simply hours in, hours out. That's it. How many hours have we charged into the business how many hours have we charged into the business as in, paid for production hours, and how many hours have we got out? That's a top line figure what we work on. Generally work at about 85%. We delivered 81% last month. But our improvements will come from getting product to the production zones quicker and more efficiently. So we've not got production team waiting on materials, consumables, machine breakdown. So we're looking at things like got to look at preventative maintenance, shop floor layouts. We are not about making people work faster at all. We get everything. We do work on everything before we work on output of the person. And that's productivity for us. Things out the shop just by being smarter the way we're moving.
Things around productivity essentials. One of the things that we work on with businesses is providing the right tools for people. It's not about making them work harder. It's about making them work more efficiently and smarter. And sometimes that then stems from giving them the right technology and the right tools to be able to then become a more productive person. You don't need to put in more hours to be more productive. You just need to have the right level of support and tools to be able to then do the work. And it's same with like improving the workplace environment, where you went through with your shop floor layout, and just making sure that it flows in a logical way. And it's not rocket science, is it?
It's so easy to allow the actual flow to be affected just by choking the end of the shop up where the goods should be flowing through, just with a big shelter project. And you don't understand the knock-on effect is not being seen of pallets crossing over, the workflow. So, but it's chicken and egg. Because we went through the rescue period of the business, we didn't have the resource to invest in the shop floor layout and the actual environment on the new machinery. So you've got to be good to be able to do that without having a load of injected cash into the business, which we didn't have. So now we're at the point now to be able to just take a step back, bird's eye view of it, and say, right, you can see what's going on here. So now we've got a new production manager in place who works alongside me closely on that. You can see these sort of improvements actually happening rather than just being talked about.
So you've gone through that big change and obviously looked at everything and taken the support to get through that. What's the sort of challenges around that now going forward?
It's when do you stop production to actually get these projects done? So, I mentioned earlier on we have got a big facility. So I think what we're going to do now is we're fortunate in the fact that we don't need to shut a cell down to be actually work on it, but we do need to just commit to redeveloping one side of the business, putting it in there, and then just moving the businesses east to west. Whereas at the minute we were trying to, for years we've tried to do it while we're actually actually producing goods, and there's just not the space all the time, all the resources to do it.
You mentioned at the start how you very briefly about the way that you actually manage or measure your business productivity. What's the specifics of how you actually manage your business to make sure that you can see that the teams are genuinely working towards the capacity that you expect from them, but then also you can then see some areas of improvement? What's the measurement? So
we've got a data collection system where we clock in, clock out with the job hours wise. Admittedly, the data collection element of it could be better. If we've got a breakdown or if we're waiting for a part, we've got to get the shop floor discipline there to actually, the production team need to understand the importance of clocking off the job. Yes, you're waiting an extra hour for a part to arrive, but that's not the job's fault. So actually, the job is profitable. It's just that there was an outside circumstance affecting it. So
that's another data field, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So it's not just all part of one job. You've stopped at a point that it's broken down, and then your next data field is then how long that machine's then been not operational.
Yes.
So then you can actually check the data to see that, that Joe Bloggs is still making that bollard productively. It's just that the machine's brought down.
Correct.
It's not all in one.
Yeah. We haven't had the consistent approach, so we've tried these things over the years, but we've not pushed it through enough. So the team have not seen the actual benefits, the results of the data of it. An actual report at the end of the month to say, this cell's done this cell's done that. But now we've got people in the right seats on the bus. I picked that one up from you. I'm being allowed to step back and say, this is actually how well we're doing now. So I'm convinced once we start reporting that back to the team, the discipline of the actual data collection will improve because it's for a reason.
And it just comes down to continuous improvement, doesn't it? It's always a plan, do, check, act cycle where you're planning for it, you're doing it, you're checking to make sure it's fine, and then you're acting on anything that you identify, which is important for any large or subsector, even all the way down to your data collection.
Yes.
Still continuously improving how you collect it, to make sure that it's not just collected correctly for a week, it's then collected correctly moving forward for everything.
Yes.
Which will then give you, sat in the top seat, or in the driver's seat, if you're using the analogy, to manage the team right.
Yeah.
And get the right data. Apart from that, what other challenges have you got around productivity? Because there is loads, isn't there? There's so many things that you can actually think about, the little cogs of productivity to go. You've got data, you've got layout, you've got culture, you've got everything really. Is there anything else that you think of that could be a challenge, not just for you, but maybe other people as well, that they might not be thinking it, but you've potentially helped them identify it?
Yeah, improvement of skill set, which Simon, the new production manager, is doing a really good job on. We got into the rut of people being pigeonholed into what they're really good at. They didn't step left, they didn't step right. But at the same time, we've got another person here who weren't allowed to step left and right, but were really good. And what we're actually seeing now is everybody's being given an opportunity to do quite a lot of the processes across the business. Some of them are undesirable, boring, time-consuming tasks, but by actually changing it up and make it and a better understanding across the business, we're actually seeing that we're letting people shine in areas where they weren't allowed to before. So there's a skill set side of things, and then there's a rotation of anybody in a manual process. There's a rotation of actual time on the job as well, not just from a health and safety point of view, but from a mental point of view as well. Some